the wet bandits are immortal. They can't die.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes. Welcome back to Is It Still Good? This is the show where we take our rose-colored glasses. We put them on trial in front of our entire family. And when they refuse to apologize, we throw them into the upstairs of our homes. We never see them again. And it's so with the eyes that remain, we're forced to reevaluate the culture of our youth. I'm Bear Kennedy. I am currently in Salem, Massachusetts, trying to solicit a witch for a hand job. Joining me as always...
Andrew Carter, Los Angeles, getting to be that time of year, and we definitely don't feel it out here because the weather is the same as it always is. We have a very special guest today for our next edition of Christmas Movies with Christmas Cocktails. We have Biniam Bizuneh. He is a good friend we met at the Sundance Lab. He is a very accomplished stand-up comedian, comedy writer. Biniam, how you doing? And what part of town are you in? You're in Echo Park, right?
Silver Lake.
Oh, Silver Lake. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. So we talked about this. We're basically neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing good. Just got done with a workout, and now I'm eating frozen pizza that I made just back there in the kitchen. You can see in the background. It's a really great light.
If you're watching, you can see Biniam's kitchen, the frozen pizza that he made. This is big. This is huge. And you're rewarding yourself with a frozen pizza after a workout. Is this the workout that you go and you work out at the guy's house and he just lets you beat him up like we were talking about?
This is more, I go to this dude, he runs a sandals company, but he has 4 guys and they have this space that they, I guess, rent out, and all of them have side hustles on top of doing the sandal company. So one of them's a barber, one of them flips shoes, and he is a trainer. And so they'll do whatever business they have with their sandal company, and then also just have oh boys, producing music today. And I'm just working out. He's got a bench in there.
That's great.
The whole deal.
That sounds good, but I missed the context on the gym you belong to, where it's a guy's house and you pay him and he beats you up. So can we just address that?
I don't know what that is, honestly. I'm not sure.
That's a joke that I made.
Okay.
That
seemed like a real service. I mean, in quarantine, that would make sense.
It's true.
I think you can. You can do it with boxing gloves on. It's kind of like boxing practice, right?
Yeah.
Punch a guy.
It's kind of true, yeah.
Hands up.
Someone's just listen, 2020 has been a really reflective year for me, and I just I feel like I'm not learning enough. Can you just come over and beat the shit out of me so I can grow?
I'm starting a fight club.
You guys watch those fights, the Jake Paul and Nate Robinson and
I saw the clips.
Jesse?
I saw the clips of Jake Paul and Nate Robinson. Jake Paul really fucked him up. I gotta say.
I think it was a big win for white boxers. Yo, we got okay, look, this dude's a YouTuber, boxed 2 times before, and he beats a professional athlete. Not even beats him, just actually knocks him out cold. A very, you got to feel a little bit, not on any sort of racist thing, but just in a sort of hey, that's our team. Kind of okay, we got this. You got to feel insane. A little.
I used to be super into boxing as a kid, till I was maybe 22. And the racial component of boxing is super, super real. Unfortunately, now this sport's kind of stagnant. But if you were Russian or some shit when the Klitschko's were at their prime, you thought you could do anything.
Well, what's funny is after Nate Robinson got knocked out, all the memes were the black delegation right now. And it's people looking disappointed, head in their hands. And
oh, no.
Basically the whole entirety of black people were so let down by Nate Robinson losing. And I think, it's just an interesting thing that just, it's just kind of white rapper. I'm white, so I can, it ends up happening that way.
Yeah, I'm no Jake Paul fan, but I definitely watched that clip and was like, all right, yeah, he can box.
That's
I mean,
shocking. Yeah. I would
Yeah.
love
did
to
you
see him get
now
knocked
his
out. I
brother-
hate that guy.
Yeah.
His brother is now fighting Floyd Mayweather.
I saw that, dude. Are you fucking? I mean, you know what though? Like, look, I hope Floyd fucking destroys him, but at the same time, if people went into this fight underestimating Jake Paul and they go in underestimating Logan Paul, they might be wrong.
I mean, I think those guys, as much as people want to shit on them and say they suck and whatever, they're like the best marketers of all time.
100%.
Oh yeah,
Genius.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Like-
They're very smart. I will definitely not say that they're stupid. They're just
Like, no one even remembers that Suicide Forest thing. That's like so good, you know?
I know, and that was like pretty
That was-
fucking egregious.
Yeah, that was bad. That was clearly over the line.
And no one even, what I'm saying is like, he has somehow made
Right.
us forget that, and now is like fighting Floyd Mayweather for probably $20 million or however much he's going to make. Like, he
Right.
just, no one cares.
I know.
It's been a while since I bought a boxing pay-per-view, though I used to seriously do it a lot. I would consider this one.
Me too.
I might do that too. I honestly might. I haven't done. The last one I pitched in on was McGregor and Mayweather. Actually,
Yeah.
That was fun. That was worth it.
I watched that on some guy's phone illegally at the Carousel Bar in New Orleans.
You watched it on a phone.
Yeah, while I was
Over someone's shoulder.
yeah, no,
Yeah, right.
like the guy next to me was like, "Hey, you want to watch this?" And I was with our buddy Mark, and that's how we watched it. And then we proceeded to get maybe top 3 drunk in my life. So that was a good night for me. But I did steal watching that one. So
Fight ends, and he's like, "So you want to chip in, Venmo me like?"
he was fucking stealing it. I probably bought him a drink, but that's a good bar. I hope it's still around. That is a great place to escape off of Bourbon
I mean,
Street.
Carousel Bar in New Orleans. That just sounds like a fucking great time.
It does spin very slowly too.
Yeah.
And when you get shit faced, it becomes more distressing.
And speaking of these kind of like David versus Goliath situations where one side seems like they should win, that brings us so perfectly to the film we're here to talk about today.
That's why we brought you on for that level of transition.
Fucking said, my friend. That is why we brought you for. I mean, that's amazing. And yes, we are talking about Home Alone 2: Lost in New York. If you were with us last week, we had Michael Vlamis on, The Teenage Dream, to talk about Home Alone. We have Biniam on here for a specific reason. But before we get into that, I just want to share the holiday treats that we're having. I think Biniam's theme is right on the money because he's having pizza, and there is nothing more Home Alone than pizza. I mean, this is amazing. Yeah, it's a great one.
Y'all remember that the limo scene? He's watching The Grinch. He's
Oh,
eating
yeah.
pizza, drinking a Coke. I was like 7 years old, like the height of luxury I'm seeing.
Oh yeah, incredible.
I'd imagine.
That's the best. And now, if you're drinking with us, Bear, are you having the same thing as me?
I made the Home Alone. I've got it in.
We've got the Home Alone.
I'm not on my home turf, but I did manage to find a highball glass. And this
I
was a little
don't-
more effort than I wanted, but I did make it.
Me too. I didn't have cucumber, and I just had a bunch, but I just pickled all of them, so I didn't have any. But I added mint, and I added a little jalapeno because I like spice. But
I
a
think
Home
that's a good-
Alone is basically gin, simple syrup, lemon juice, and ginger beer. And you're supposed to muddle some cucumbers. I did not do that because I didn't have any. But to you, Biniam, are you having a drink with us, or it's just the pizza?
Well, let me show you what happened. I usually just don't ever have alcohol, but yesterday was my birthday, and someone
Happy
got
birthday,
me,
my friend. Happy
Thank
birthday.
Thank you. Someone got me this Moscato, and I was trying to open it, and then my shit like broke off in there. The screw broke off of this thing, and then I was just like, well, guess I'm not drinking on the podcast today.
Ordinarily, I'd say it's not a problem. You just push it in, but I think with the pressurization,
Yeah, that could be
if
tough.
that's sparkling, you might have a hard time with that.
Yeah, what do you mean push it in? I don't even. Oh,
If-
you
if
mean
you-
like
Just push it in.
Right.
mm,
It's
I-
sparkling.
you
It
might-
might.
You might be fighting some pressure.
Right. Yeah.
The other thing you can do is you can actually buy this from Williams Sonoma. You can get a champagne saber, and
Yeah,
try to
I was gonna
cut the
say.
top off of it. But
Oh,
that's going to be a low percentage play.
It's
I
like
think- I think the pressure is gone because I actually put the screw so far down that when I ended up taking it out with pliers because it was broken off of the thing, I heard the air escape.
Okay, you might be okay then. Like I've
might
done
be
this
okay.
before. I haven't done it in many years, but I remember doing this when I was studying abroad with a bottle of white wine, and I ended up pushing the cork into it and then drinking out of the bottle.
With your fingers?
Yeah, just fucking finger bang that thing directly in there.
Yeah, if
Pretend
you
there's
want
a
to try
cervix
it,
in there.
if you want to try it while we're recording, do it. This is great. This is great content, guys.
Yeah, I'm too weak for this. I can't do it. I'm gonna give up.
You gave
That's
it
all
your
good.
best.
I can already see, but I do have a black mug full of water, so we're
there you go.
partying.
Bingo.
Talk show, man. Cheers to you. Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Wow, I
Appreciate
like
it.
that a
I'm
lot. I
47.
don't usually like gin drinks. I don't really like gin, but that's great.
I've been on a Gibson kick lately, and I do make martinis as well, but this is good. Yeah, the cucumber is very front and center here for me, having muddled it and whatnot. So I might be having a different experience than you, but yeah, this is quite good.
Yeah, I got some mint in here with a little jalapeno, so there's a little kick to it. I really love spicy drinks, and I always find that when I just put jalapeno in there, I almost want it to be spicier. And I have Firewater bitters, but I had to like order it online to get it, so I only want to use it sparingly. So I didn't use it here, but I still get I get enough of a kick.
Get a little something on the back of the throat, keep you awake.
Something. Yeah, a little something. But anyways, Home Alone 2. So 28 years old this year. An obvious choice for the studio after the success of Home Alone.
Oh yeah.
Biniam, what is your history with this movie? When did you discover it? How did you discover it? And yet, I think you just said you were 7 years old when you first saw it.
I don't remember the exact birthday I got it from. I think the movie came out in what, 93, something like that.
92, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So my uncle Fakadu, he worked at CVS, and behind the counter at CVS, they would have this whole thing of VHSs. And for Christmas every year, he would use his employee discount to buy me random VHS tapes that were behind him at the register. And one year, he got me this, and he got me Home Alone 2, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Liar Liar. It was a good haul.
Yeah.
This was like
Good year.
6 or 7. And so I grew up watching Home Alone 2 so many times without ever seeing the first one and ever knowing. Like, I never knew that any of these things were based exactly on the first one. And so when I saw the first one, I was so disappointed and realized, like, oh, this is just a double but I still like the second one more. I think that they heightened the jokes. They took it to a new location. It all still works, but I thought everything was completely original.
So all the talk about like this having happened before within the film, like you were just like, oh, that's good texture. That's just creating the world. You just didn't get it.
I was like, oh my God, this thing with the VHS trick, amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't know that there was a part in the first one where they did that same thing, or like all of them being like, this all happened before. I thought they were just like laying down their characters of like what kind of people they are. Like I didn't.
Right.
I know it's a sequel, but I didn't like as a kid. I didn't like connect the fact that. Like I just didn't even think of another.
The only question I have is like, what
Amazing.
did you think the number 2 was for in the title?
So I never really I don't think I knew about Roman numerals. So I think I thought it was called Home Alone Lost in New York, and that those were I thought that was like the World Trade Center or something.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was just like some design element.
That makes sense.
Wow.
You know that I think they've since changed the Roman numerals too, because on Disney Plus it was a 2, and maybe I mean, you never know. Maybe that's really funny. It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did, and that's so interesting. Yeah. So it's like
it might have been the World Trade Center. Was it?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense for them to use that in the marketing.
I didn't see that, but the poster that I can picture, the one that's on Wikipedia, which was I had the VHS of that same one, is where I think it's just the number 2, and Harry and Marv are peeking around the
Paper.
No, he's holding the paper, and Harry and Marv are peeking around the building. They're like, they've got their heads around like the Empire State Building, like, ugh.
Okay.
Let me see.
It's ridiculous. It's a great poster.
This might be a Mandela effect thing.
But you know what else though, man? When you're a kid, I feel like, and when you're that young, I feel like you don't really understand the concept of sequels either.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You know what? Actually, you're right. There was no Roman numeral 2. I was just trying to figure. I'm looking at this cover right now. Like, this is the cover I had.
I didn't want to call you on it because it could have been a thing, but like as I recall, it is just the number 2.
I feel like I remember seeing the Twin Towers on the marketing though, but maybe they were just on the poster.
Maybe they altered it after 9/11.
This could be a Mandela effect, meaning proof of an alternate timeline. Ever think of that?
The timeline where you experienced this movie a lot before watching the original is fucking nuts to me. When did you see the first movie?
I just love the Mandela. You guys know about the Mandela effect stuff?
No, can you tell us about that?
I nodded my head like I did, and then I just didn't.
Oh, it's all about the stupid, subtle changes that people use as a reason to say that there are alternate timelines, and most of them are misremembering spellings of things and being like, I swear to God, it was like that. But it's actually this. And there are a shit ton of them. There's like, so Berenstain Bears, that's how we all remember it, or many people. It's actually, look at the spelling now, it's Berenstain Bears with Stain. And you look at that and you're like, wait, no, it was Berenstain.
It's Berenstein.
Look it up, look it up. Look it up right now.
Yeah, look it up. Bear, or I can do it too. I don't have my phone.
Got it. I'll handle the bear trivia. Thank you.
Oh, well played.
There's Febreze. Everyone remembers Febreze as being with 2 E's, but you look at it, it's only one E.
What? I have to look that up. I have Febreze, I think.
Yeah, there's Star Wars. Luke, I am your father. He actually says, no, I am your father.
You're right. He does. He does. You're right. He does say
he says,
that.
No, I'm your. Yeah.
So,
dude, Febreze is 1 E. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's Berenstain. There is an entry on the Wikipedia about
what the hell.
Well, everyone is. Yeah, no one remember. Everyone is like, I remember Berenstain, and they use this as a reason to say that there are split timelines, and we're living in the version where. Give us a clue in the spelling of Berenstain instead of the more likely fact that we all are some mismemory thing, like some way the brain works. You know?
You said whatever you said when you said what I would think is the Berenstain Bears. It hit my ears fucked up. I was like, you're wrong.
Berenstain
is crazy, but that's what it is.
Berenstain is nuts. Yeah, but Berenstain or Stein is what it is.
Yeah, I just thought they were a bunch of Jewish bears. I just thought, they're hanging out.
Yeah. And there's the mirror on your car to look behind you. Everyone, like growing up, what does it say on it? The mirror, you know?
Objects are closer than they appear.
Yeah.
You remember objects are closer than they appear. I remember objects in mirror may appear closer. Like there was a may in there. Do you remember that?
The may?
I think I might remember the may too because I think that's in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I was going to say, just cue up Jurassic Park and see what's
objects in mirror are closer than they may appear. I think that might have been what it was.
But this is a dumb tangent. But it's
hilarious. This is insane.
We never do tangents on the show, so that's off brand.
The reason they call it the Mandela effect is because all of these people remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the late 80s or early 90s, and then
he lived for a long time after.
Yeah, exactly. So they think that is proof of this alternate thing because they realize he's still alive in the mid 2000s.
What?
What the fuck? We all remember him dying.
That's insane.
I love it. I mean, I'm not opposed to that at all.
That is great.
That's one of those things. I just wish it was. I wish I was more sure that there were alternate timelines. More than anything, probably.
Okay, last one is a lot of people remember a genie movie starring Sinbad called Kazam, and that never.
That's
Shaq.
Shaq.
Exactly, that's the one that actually exists. Or they remember a genie movie with Sinbad, and it was called like something very similar to Kazam. And a lot of people remember this.
Oh no, man, that's hilarious.
I think Sinbad.
I think it's because
I think he
Sinbad
just dresses like a genie.
Yeah, he does. But also,
that's like his
around the
wardrobe.
same
like
time that Kazam came out, Sinbad was on fire, and he had like First Kid. He was in Good Burger. He was in a ton of shit around the same time.
Like the likely explanation is that all of our brains are built so similarly that if one of them makes this error in like, you know, how everything came together, of like Kazam comes out, there's Shaq, he does this thing. We all saw the same shit and had the same mistaken memory.
Right.
You know?
That's wild, man. I've never heard of that, but that like it's hilarious, and it actually like makes some like in a fucked up way. It makes sense. Like it's really interesting. So what we need to know: when was the first time you saw the first Home Alone? How old were you?
I think it was probably like 2 years ago or something.
Wait, what? So like when did you learn that there was an original?
I knew there was an original by the time I was sometime as in like a teenager, you know?
Okay.
But I didn't.
Did you have like were you like, wait, what? Or were you like, oh?
I think I just never cared to see it. I was like, I already got the second one. The second one's better. Like,
I guess that's true. I guess you would know that the kid survives.
Yeah.
By
That's really
nature
good
there
point.
being a second one.
Yeah. And so whatever kind of callbacks I was supposed to get, or like, it's kind of like if you already watched the Harry Potter movies, you have less inclination to read the books. You kind of know, they kind of tell you what happens the whole second movie.
Right.
You know? We actually left him at home last year. I bet this kid, hope he doesn't do the same thing he did to us last year in the house with the booby traps. So you kind of feel.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like I just can't, like all that dialogue referencing the previous events just hit you as like just world building. Which to me is absolutely hilarious.
Little 7-year-old Biniam was like, "This is good writing."
Yeah, like I really feel like a larger thing is at stake here.
I mean, watching it again yesterday, there were so many things that I never really picked up as a kid because I didn't understand what they were doing. But beginning of the movie, because now you watch things as a filmmaker or a storyteller, and like the dad is like, "Hey, do you have the charger or the battery for the camcorder?" And she's like, "Oh, I plugged it in." And then you see him unplug the alarm clock, which sets up why they're late. And I never really knew what the hell that was doing when I was a kid. I just was like, I guess that's just a random moment.
That there's a lot of holes in the script that are instantly plugged. I think that John Hughes did a great job of not leaving things up to chance. He really did fill in a lot of the gaps. That one is maybe the most tenuous because how the fuck are the mom and dad the only people in the house with an alarm clock? Like in the first movie, the power line goes out, the whole block is fucked. But in this one, no one else owns the clock.
Right.
I mean, I get Uncle Frank is a lazy piece of shit, but no one else gets up on time, even though it's only the one clock that's affected.
Like, is it the idea that they've set up this mom as like the matriarch who everyone is like, well, we just live by her rules?
I think they've set up the dad to be
I was going to say, I think they've set up the dad.
I think the dad is very much set up to be that way.
Right, because Uncle Frank says, like, you got some crazy wake-up calls or something. So it's like they're all kind of just at the behest of whatever they want to do.
Yeah, like, your dad paid good money for this.
Right.
Exactly. Well, and he's always talking about money because he's a cheapskate. But my high thought from this one was that there is almost a supernatural element to both films. Because like we talked about last week, the scene where the power goes out in the first film was actually very scary.
It's a horror movie.
And in this one, there's some scary stuff that happens. That newspaper blowing up against the house.
Right.
There's almost a Final Destination vibe that never quite comes through, as if the universe is going through these machinations to make sure that Kevin is alone on Christmas. And I don't remember the third film well enough, and I know they've made 2 other ones. I don't know if that's ever pulled through again, but I like the idea that whenever Kevin wishes something, it happens. And not only does it happen, it seems to be happening from some kind of Deus Ex Machina who's making these holiday wishes happen to him without him really realizing the consequence of them. That is a stretch, I know, but I did have that thought where I was like, there's something beyond just, this is a movie, we need to get into the plot. There is a hint of a Final Destination type deal.
I kind of chalk it up to like just movie coincidence. They like all movies are built on these dumb, like, especially in the 90s, like of just like,
oh, God.
What the hell? We're both at the same hotel, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just was like, they're just setting up, they're just getting us to the place as soon as they can in the most logical way.
I think you're right. I mean, it does happen as logically and as like non-fantastically as possible. My only real disappointment in the setup is that no one speaks the name of this film like they do in the first one. It would be nice if they said out loud, "He's lost in New York." I would shit my pants if they said, "I can't believe it's Home Alone 2. He's lost in New York." Or like, something like that. Because I love when they say the name of the movie in the movie.
Yeah. He's Home Alone, lost in New York. Just completely.
Here's an argument for your supernatural thing. Is there's some weird moments that feel very artsy now, where people break the fourth wall and just like talk to no one.
Yeah.
Like where Kevin is like, I'm alone in New York, or what does he say?
My family's in Florida and I'm in New York.
I'm in New York. And then he goes like this.
And then he looks into camera and says it again.
Love it.
It's like a way. It's like, my family's in Florida. I'm alone in New York.
Right.
My family's in Florida and I'm alone in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
The eyebrow raise is completely like crazy.
It's weird. It's good. But
There's
does
another
have a
one.
history. He does break the fourth wall in the first film.
He does.
It is also as out of nowhere and not established early on. It's way, way into the third act when he does it. And it's real weird in that.
I thought he did it. He does it. It's like the same exact beat. He goes, "I made my family disappear."
Yeah, he does it there too.
I think you're right.
He does it there too.
And he does the eyebrows too. That's the thing that I love about watching the first one and then returning to the second one. I just realized how much Chris Columbus was like, "Yo, we got to run that one back." Every single moment we have to make sure.
I hadn't thought of that. That is it.
You probably got like an alternate take of every line from him saying it directly to camera. My personal favorite in number 2 is when he's on the plane and he's like, "Have you ever been to Florida?" And the guy just starts speaking French and he just looks right at the camera and is like, puts on his headphones. That was hilarious.
And I
actually
speak
laughed
French
out loud.
too. And the guy says, "I've never been to America before. I'm just a tourist here. It's my first time. I'm excited to go to New York. I want to eat all the restaurants and see all the cool stuff."
Yeah.
And he's still talking when he puts his headphones on.
But you're right. The breaking of the fourth wall is interesting because I just had this revelation now, but that's less of a supernatural deal and more of like a Michael Haneke type thing where it's like the events in this movie are happening because you are watching them happen. Everything that happens to these characters happens because you can't stop watching them. So anything bad is your fault for watching the film. I don't think it goes that far.
That's how I felt watching Funny Games, and that's
his
total
movie.
sense.
That's his best movie.
That's his movie, right? I know. It makes total sense.
And Cachet is another one that's really good, but it's that vibe where it's like this exists because you're watching it, and he talks to you sometimes because he kind of doesn't like that you're watching him.
Yeah.
But that's the vibe.
It's like Fleabag. It's like they did this weird. I mean, I don't think they thought of it this way, but watching it back, it's like this is a really weird, artsy, kind of out there, alty thing to do in a studio, huge, big budget movie,
right?
Thing to just have the character be like, "What's up?" And I'm trying to think of. Oh, there's moments where the mom and dad kind of do it too, like when they wake up and they're like, "Ah!"
Yeah, right to camera. And then when she says Kevin and screams it. But you're so right, Biniam, because it's like, I bet you on the set or when they were writing it or wherever that idea to go fourth wall, wherever that idea to break the fourth wall came in, they were thinking like, oh, well, Macaulay's so cute. Everyone's going to love it. Like, they were just thinking, oh, it's going to be hilarious and the audience is going to love it. But they didn't realize, because you're right. Now, if you look at like Michael Haneke films, or if you look at Fleabag, or even fucking like, I guess you could go back and say they were influenced by some of Woody Allen's stuff. It's like, they probably didn't realize that like, oh, this is like a pretty artsy thing. And it feels like it's happening more now. I just watched a movie called The Wood. And
I know that
with
it's a great movie. Omar Epps, Richard T. Jones.
From like 2000.
It's like
99.
Rick Fumiyawa.
Rick Fumiyawa, yeah, that's right.
Is Wood Harris in that, or am I thinking of something else?
Wood Harris is in The Wire. I don't actually. Wood Harris might. I don't know if he's in that, but it's the three main guys are Taye Diggs, Richard T. Jones, and Omar Epps. And in the very first couple of minutes, they're like looking for Taye Diggs, and they can't find him, and Omar Epps just turns to camera and starts talking. And like, it was a big thing. And
his friends not hear him when he's doing that.
I don't think his friends can hear him, right? I don't think, because it's not like Richard T. Jones, because Richard T. Jones then comes out of the next room and he's like, he's not here. He's not like, he's like, yeah, guys, where is he?
So,
like,
where I first saw this as a kid that normalized it for me was Clarissa Explains It All.
I went through my mind as you were saying it.
Yeah. That's where I first, like, I remember first watching Fleabag, and there was a part of me that was like, they just ripped this off Clarissa Explains It All.
That's great. That's amazing.
So it didn't seem that weird. But also, here's a question. Because there are so many moments in this movie that are just homages to the first film, do you think that the studio, like Chris Columbus turned in the first script, or whoever wrote it, I know he directed it.
John Hughes wrote it again.
John Hughes. Yeah. Do you think that the studio was like, can you do that one thing again? Like, you know how he like says something looking off camera, and then he says it looking into camera, and then does the eyebrow thing? We kind of need that moment again because people love that.
It doesn't feel like that to me, and it also doesn't feel like John Hughes giving the studio the finger for making him write a sequel. I think he would have been craftier about that. I think he would have gone more Verhoeven with it. I think that I like this movie a lot, but I think this movie is in the vein of a numbered horror sequel.
Yeah.
We've talked on the show a little bit about this. I have a very broad definition of what constitutes a horror movie, and I think the first one fits the bill. And this one fits the bill of a horror movie sequel, where there's a higher body count, the lines are better, there's a lot of homages to the original, and the basic formula is exactly the same.
Yes.
Whether he did that,
there's a lot more violence for sure.
It's
more intense violence. Like when he's throwing bricks and Daniel Stern gets hit with like 4, he'd be fucking dead. He'd be dead.
And here's the other argument for the supernatural thing is that the wet bandits are immortal. They can't die.
Well, they certainly don't. The rules don't apply to them like they do to other characters.
They're like Wile E. Coyote. Like they
very much so. Yes.
A bomb will explode in their head, and they're just like have black suit on them. They can't. They can't get hurt. They can't break bones. They can't.
It's true.
The black suit thing killed me as a kid, and that is straight up Looney Tunes. But you're right. I think in the first movie, I don't think any of them would have died. I think Pesci would have lived. I think Marv would have died when the iron hit him in the face. Maybe the paint can would have killed him, but there's nothing that is murderous. Whereas here, the first trap he does, if you count the paint can with the wooden board, springs Pesci, that probably would have killed him.
And he lands on the car and like destroys the car.
And there is a hilarious zoom out in Pesci's perspective that I had to pause because I was laughing so hard at. It's also amazing.
Like, it's such a stupid plan where he's like, I'm going to throw the brick through, and then I'm going to put this right here, and one's going to come out first, step on one side, and the other one will come out. Like,
it makes no sense.
I agree, but it's not any weirder than the nail on the stair that requires taking off Daniel Stern's shoes and socks with tar.
Also,
and so there is a legacy of elaborate traps.
Yeah. And them just being so stupid of like it reminded me of, you ever seen Three Ninjas?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like there were a lot of these movies that had this thing of kid outsmarting the dumb adults. That was like,
of course.
like that was like our crack. Like kids love that. We're like, yeah, we're smarter than them. And I remember this one scene in Three Ninjas where they pour laxative into this drink, and then this like 5-year-old is like, it tastes so good, and he's like not drinking it, and the burglar goes, give me that, and so that's the prank to get him to drink it. There's moments like that in this where he's just like,
oh yeah,
hey guys, I bet you can't walk up the stairs, or whatever the fuck.
yeah.
Well,
and they're like,
yeah.
oh, I'll walk up the stairs, and then they fall in a hole. Like
he gets
you guys.
He gets him off the building on the rope with what might be one of the better lines in the film, which is "nice night for a neck injury."
Oh yeah,
which is awesome.
And then lights it on fucking fire.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah.
I would argue that Kevin is trying to murder them.
Well, he's certainly not trying to help them exist, but he's afraid of. Well, I don't know if he's afraid of him, but he's aware that they have bad intent.
Well, he says at one point, and this I don't think this is to camera, but it might as well be. He says, "Don't you know that the kid always wins, or whatever?" He's
against
like,
two idiots.
The kid always wins against two idiots. Yeah, like that's insane. My personal favorite. I don't know if you guys know, but you know when Daniel Stern gets electrocuted and turns into a skeleton, which is hilarious.
The skeleton having a beard and a mustache is
it's incredible.
One of the better practical effects ever.
That's already hilarious. But I saw this meme a few years ago that my friend showed me, and the meme is when you come, but she's still sucking, and it's that. And it's him being electrocuted as a skeleton, going, oh!
I mean, I this is what I was thinking yesterday, was like, what if when he threw that first brick, Marv just died?
Like, be interesting. Right. Well, there's a couple, and I don't think you should criticize a movie for what it isn't.
Yeah.
Just get that out there. I think you should take it for what it is. But there's a couple moments in this movie that would have made for an interesting time. He misses his mom at that house by about 12 seconds. If he would have shown up and she was there and he was like, I can't explain this, you have to come with me, and she witnessed him do all the shit to those guys, that would be a very interesting movie.
Yeah.
It should be like, Kevin, who are these guys?
Yeah, like she has to kill him at the end of it because she's like, I created a monster. that is not the movie that's presented, but that would have been fucking.
She kills him, buries him under the tree in Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, like, hey, we couldn't find him. What are you gonna do?
Like, I'm sorry, Kevin, and she pours the kerosene on him.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been. I would love to see that because he does have a mean streak in him, and the rest of the family doesn't really know about it.
And it also makes you wonder.
To have that come to the forefront would have been real interesting.
Like, did he ever fucking tell them? Like, did his family ever find out that, like, he was the one that put them away, like, in the first movie? Probably not. Like,
no.
how much PTSD is this kid gonna have when he grows up?
He thrives on it, though. He gets, not only does he thrive on it, he gets better at everything that he did in the first film. He completely knows how to exist alone. I mean, he knows how to inflict pain on adults in ways that I can hardly even imagine. The fucking cement thing to the face, oh my God. Oh.
Did you guys ever see the movie The Good Son? Elijah?
Yes, love it. Love that movie.
I have an argument for these being in the same universe. Okay?
Well, I do subscribe to the theory that every actor is in the universe of every movie they've ever starred in. It's the same character.
Yeah. So Macaulay Culkin, after the events of Home Alone 2, his parents find out about this insane, violent tendencies he have, and they put him up for adoption. And then he's adopted by the family in The Good Son, Elijah Wood, and he goes harder into this, but like he's dropping bricks off a overpass and making cars crash, and he's just
they do the dummy. He calls him Mr. Highway. That's the best scene.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's a good movie.
I know this movie, and I've seen clips, but I have not seen it in full. Is it?
We can do it for the show. Actually,
I want to. I really want to. Is it rated R? I feel like it was dark. I feel like I remember hearing about it and being like, "Oh shit,
It's definitely not PG like the two Home Alones, which were pushing the fucking envelope. But I don't know if it's R. I'll look it up.
I want to look that up. Yeah. Oh, you look it up. Okay, go ahead.
I got it.
Something that I also thought about while watching this is like the things that they would not put in a PG movie now, that are in that movie. Like so first of all, I thought that movie, and keep the change, you filthy animal, that thing, I thought that was a real movie my entire life until I was like, I don't know, 18, and I was like, that's not an actual movie.
Not only are you wrong, you're super wrong, because that's actually the sequel to the original Angels with Filthy Souls. That is Angels with Filthier Souls.
Yes. And what is the scene in the first? It's basically the same exact thing, right?
The same thing, yeah.
It's like a thing.
Except actually, it's more fucked up and violent in the second one because he kills a woman. In the first one, he's killing his guy who like fucked him over. Come here, snakes. And this one,
yeah, I feel like they would not put that in a kid's movie now. Like a guy with a machine gun killing a woman that he suspects of cheating on him.
No,
I will one up you on the PG stuff. Uncle Frank tells Kevin that his dick is so big that if Kevin saw it, it would ruin the rest of his life in the first 10 minutes of the film, which is awesome.
I didn't get that joke until I watched it yesterday. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like, and then Kevin goes, whatever that means. Yeah, that's going to be fucking, that would never fly. And here's the other thing. Not only would the Angels with Filthy Souls movies not fly, using the machine gun in the hotel on the staff, never. No
going
fucking
full
way.
Stephen Paddock. Oh my God. No.
And the fact that all the other staff members are like, looking at like, what's going on? Like there's a mass shooter run. Like that would never fucking happen. The idea
of mass shooters didn't exist, right?
I don't know if it did. I don't think so. I mean, maybe the idea did, but not with the prevalence that it's.
You'd have to fact check that one. Speaking of fact checks, A Good Son, rated R. The tagline: "Evil has many faces," with an awesome picture of Macaulay Culkin's face on it.
Okay, so here's the crazy part about that, because that came out in what, like 94?
93.
93. Okay, here's the crazy thing about that.
The timeline.
Okay, I think you're right, first of all, Biniam, about the timeline. Here's the second thing. The fact that Macaulay Culkin was in an R-rated movie, like, how did it do at the box office?
Please hold.
They got Elijah Wood,
Macaulay
Culkin. Who was the mom in it?
The mom
like a big role.
Was, I believe, Wendy Crewson, who I don't
Wendy
recognize.
Crewson she's from the Santa Claus. She's the mom of the Santa Claus.
David Morse was in it too.
He's good.
He's contractually obligated to be in every movie from 1990 to 2000. It did 17 million.
That's not good.
Oh, I'm sorry. It did 44 million on a 17 million budget.
That is good. Okay, that is good. But it's like Macaulay Culkin at that age, with like the audience that he has of like young people, like being in an adult drama is bold.
Oh, it's an awesome move.
It's an awesome move.
And I'm not kidding.
Right. No, he is, and that's cool.
To be a villain who's like killing people. Yeah,
that's awesome.
As a 12-year-old.
Dude, is this on streaming? I want to watch this movie because I
unironically really like it. Or I did when I last saw it. But if you want to do it for the show, I am totally in.
Oh, we have to. We got to do it.
So, like, tell me what you think of this. This was an interpretation I had watching it, is that Tim Curry had real pedo vibes. So Kevin walks in the hotel and he's like, gives him this kind of,
oh no.
And then he sneaks into his room and the shower is going and he looks happy and goes into the shower. And then when he sees there's a grown man in there, he's upset. This is the sequence of events.
I'm sad that you beat me to this reading of that scene because you're super right.
Weird.
You're so right. Oh my God. Yeah. And then when he comes down and he's like, limousine and a pizza. He's like enticing him. Like, come in my van, kid. There's candy. Like, big
wow.
Casting him was a master stroke in this role. I think it's a great call.
I'm telling you this right now. Tim Curry, God bless him. And when he passes, I hope it's not soon because I love Tim Curry, but when he passes, this will be a career definer, this role. People will remember, everyone will remember him from Clue, from Muppet Treasure Island, and from
You're missing his big one. I think I would disagree.
What's the other one?
Rocky Horror.
Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. I've actually never seen Rocky Horror, but...
He's also in Congo and Muppet Treasure Island.
I just said Muppet Treasure Island.
Bangers, yeah.
I just said it. I just said Muppet Treasure Island, you dingus.
Well, son of a whore.
Well, you didn't listen, did you? Oh, by the way, Biniam, look at Bear's name when he talks. It says Hester Stone. Do you know who that is from Home Alone 2?
Is that the name of the pigeon lady?
No, that's a good guess. Hester Stone is the lady who works the front desk at the hotel.
Oh,
Who takes his credit card.
How do you know? Does she have a full name?
She has a name tag and it says Hester Stone. She's not even credited as Hester Stone in the credits, but that is such a hilarious name that
That is
took note of
hilarious.
it.
Who plays her?
Why would you have your last name on a name tag? That's not.
I have no idea. It was so weird. Like I was like, what? Yeah, it's Hester Stone.
Because Rob Schneider doesn't have his last name. It's just what's his Clive, right?
Cedric. Jesus Christ.
Cedric. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm fucking. And Cliff. Cliff doesn't. It's just Cliff.
Yeah, and Boney Pav is just Boney Pav.
Do you think that this line, they would do it differently nowadays because it would seem homophobic? Like Kevin going, if some guy looks at you in the shower, would you ever want to look at him again?
Yeah, I actually was thinking that when I saw it. I don't know if it would fly.
Well, that and the joke on Cliff that
he kissed him, right?
Yeah, Johnny's love interest has been making out with Cliff, and Cliff is horrified to be outed in front of his coworkers. I think that is acceptable in the 90s, but probably less so now. Those jokes are probably the ones that have aged the poorest.
Oh yeah.
But at 92, probably fair game.
Yeah, definitely. But it's amazing to look back on stuff like even fucking Entourage from like 2000, like whenever it ended, 2011. There was still like gay jokes. That was like about 10 years ago, and it's
you
like
can still do
that.
gay jokes, but if you make the butt of the joke someone, like
that is what I'm saying. It was
called gay. I think that's,
right.
How are you even get someone to laugh at that? It's like, who fucking grow up, man?
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like a lot of that there's a lot of like homophobic humor there.
I liked when when Tim Curry checks his card and it says stolen. Like it would say declined or something.
Yeah.
But I do love that they use that as an excuse to have him smile like the Grinch. That was good.
Yeah.
With the light that comes on.
Great.
Yeah, the light that comes on is good.
I feel like the only reason Kevin comes back to the hotel is to do that like joke, the thing with the movie, the shooter joke.
Yeah.
Because there's no other reason for him. He comes back
it makes no
and then
sense.
the guy's like, I know what you did. And then he runs inside the hotel instead of running down the street.
Well, he's being pursued. He's being pursued by Harry and Marv. He doesn't know he's been outed, so he is running back to his home base at that point. He thinks that's a safe haven.
And then Tim Curry outs him, and he then runs inside. And I was like, why are you going inside? But
does he have...
I think he has to he has to get some cookies from the minibar first off.
Right, that's what it is.
That's all he gets.
That's all he gets? I was going to think, does he get anything else? I guess you're right, because he has his backpack, so no, he doesn't.
He is traveling pretty light. I think, you're mostly right on that one.
Yeah, he's wearing... I think is he in the same fucking wardrobe the whole movie?
Pretty much, I think.
What a stinky kid.
Like a green sweater with khakis or something?
Mm-hmm.
I think Macaulay Culkin is awesome, but I also... You're right. There is no way he smells good in this movie or in real life.
That's great.
Did you wonder about... So the family being in Florida, I was watching them and I was like... I was trying to figure out how rich this family is. Because I'm like, they seem kind of well off, but then you're staying in a motel and they all have to share a room. Like, what is the situation here? You know?
That doesn't that doesn't add up at all given the luxurious nature of their hotel room in Paris.
I think the justification for it, which doesn't fly and doesn't add up at all, is when there's that shot of all of them just kind of staring at the shitty motel. Frank's the last one and says, it looked different on our honeymoon. So he clearly
misled.
Recommended it and was like, this is going to be great. And, or maybe it's not a clear joke, or maybe they like booked the wrong place. Like that could be it too, possibly. But I agree, it didn't add up.
That's. I hadn't thought of that. I was more impressed with how much everything kind of made sense in like the clockwork of this movie from John Hughes's writing, but that doesn't make sense.
Right.
I liked, like, speaking of things that feel, we're talking about things that feel regressive, but progressive wise, and maybe this was just an often thing of the 90s, but like a woman standing up for herself to go so far as to slap a man, a stranger in public.
Yes.
For, I think the first time, it's just, he like kind of is just like, well, his hand gets stuck to her purse, and then it gets it off, and then he's like, hey, what's up? And then he slaps him in the face. And I was like, great.
I love that. I love when Catherine O'Hara waxed Tim Curry. I think that's probably the moments that kind of back that up. I think it is about, men kind of treating women like shit and getting hit for it. They
both get punched later.
They do. And I wish that this movie carried on the anti-police sentiment of the first film. This one doesn't. There's one hot dog necked chode motherfucker who is actually kind of helpful to them. And that's actually disappointing. Because the first one, well, then there's the other guy played by character actor Ron Canada, who gives her a ride to the Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, I love Ron Canada.
So that's disappointing. The first movie was extremely anti-police. I thought that was awesome. Yeah. This one seems to be
Bear's theory. Actually, I don't know if you know this, Biniam. Bear's theory is that Joe Pesci is a cop.
Yes,
Joe Pesci is a bad cop.
Yes,
he's a bad cop who robs houses, but like he's
one unnecessary word there. You don't have to say bad.
There you go. He's a cop. He's a cop who robs houses.
Joe Pesci was in the first one?
Correct. He's never revealed to be impersonating a police officer, so he just simply is a police officer.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
He's like, what is Marv then?
I think Marv might be on
his brother.
It's possible that they're related, but Marv, that's a good point. Marv is clearly not as smart. He is also drastically taller. And he's scheming a lot. So he might be a career criminal. Who's
also the fact that these guys, as you said, Bear, it's like the fact that this odd couple visually is not cited in New fucking York, and someone's like, hey, they escaped. Like, that's insane that no one found them.
As if Daniel Stern could blend in. Or Pesci,
are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Marv definitely seems like mentally, like he's like Asperger's, autistic. He's like,
something's up.
Something's off.
I don't know about that, but it is revealed that Joe Pesci has only ever graduated 5th grade. They may have a common denominator there where they never made it to 6th grade.
And they're proud of their stupidity too, because like, no one's dumb enough to rob a toy store except you and me.
Yeah,
Uncas Toy Chest. It just made me want to go back to FAO Schwartz. That place ruled.
I know. And the sound effects as Marv is just whipping shit off of people. Every time he pulls a hat off like an unsuspecting school child or something, it makes like a weird, like a Looney Tunes cartoon effect. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the pigeon lady and her relationship with Kevin.
Brenda Fricker, yeah.
Yeah. I thought the first time Kevin interacts with her, it's really interesting because, he gets his foot stuck in the crevice, and then she does this like fake outreach where she's like,
which never has looked normal ever.
She's like,
but then all of a sudden, I'm helping you.
Yeah.
The first time he sees her, he says like sick, and runs away.
Yeah. She looks like the Beast in the 1948 French Beauty and the Beast when the Beast is coming really close to the camera, like. That reach that she does, you're like, oh my god, what the hell is this?
She's Academy Award winner.
And it's just like on the other side.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Bear, she is an Academy Award winner. And fun fact, she actually presented Joe Pesci with his Academy Award for Goodfellas.
That's fantastic.
She won the year before.
So she was supporting of the
Yeah, she won for My Left Foot. Yes. Which is great. But that relationship, that scene was the toughest for me to get through. Like, it just felt so fucking forced and sentimental when she was just like, well, I don't know if anyone will love me again. It's like, you just met this fucking kid. Like, what are you going to open up to him? I didn't
And
buy
I was
it.
also like, Kevin is like so emotionally intelligent. He's basically her therapist in this scene. And he's like, I'm like, this kid is a genius sociopath who has like so much empathy, but also not that much empathy. You know, like he's like, he can like borderline like murder these guys, but also he can like listen to this woman's problems about love and give her advice, having never experienced love himself. And I love it. It's
amazing.
Well, we talked about this last week, but the only character he can really connect with on any level is the other character who is a psychopath, the South Bend Shovel Slayer, Old Man Marley. Yes. In this movie, again, this is where I'm curious, Biniam.
Yeah.
Having not seen the first film, the pigeon lady is just beat for beat what happens with Old Man Marley. So what was your takeaway as a kid? Because like that relationship is a little fast. It's the same emotional beats, and it's really playing into, you kind of know that he connects with these kind of outside people.
Right.
I didn't know that. So to me, I had nothing to compare it to. So I thought of it as the lesson of don't judge a book by its cover.
Which it is.
You know? And I largely did not remember the scene where they're talking about her like losing out on love and she's talking, you know, like I didn't
remember that at all.
I thought it was boring, I think, as a kid, and I was just like, what the hell is this shit?
Right.
Well, not only is it boring, but it's right before the traps happen, and that's the best shit in the movie. So if you're gonna forget something, that's what's gonna go out of your hippocampus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like some. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't have a problem with the pigeon lady. It is redoing the same shit from the first movie. I think it's a nice message, you know, that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and that yes, there are people other than you and other than your way of life. Obviously, Kevin comes from fucking Winnetka. He's got no problems in life. I do like that he interacts with a homeless person who he's at first like, this is scary, and then realizes, bad things could happen to anybody. You know, you shouldn't make those kind of judgments. So I do like that this movie is pro women standing up for each other or themselves rather, and pro homeless people. Two groups that traditionally get shit on a lot. So that's interesting.
Before he gets to her though, Central Park is a horror movie.
Oh yeah, the cab? Are you kidding?
Actually sounds awesome. He gets proposed for sex, which is cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That cab driver looks scary, but that's a good joke from an ugly guy.
Yeah.
Like
that is a good joke. How he's like, it's scary out there. He's like, it ain't much better in here, kid. That was terrifying.
Like, are you trying to lose your fare, man? Come on. What kind of greeting is that?
Yeah, it's like, don't you want to make some money tonight?
He's not even insulted when Kevin leaves. He's like, oh, well, what can you do? He just drives off.
It's true.
It's like he's like, this is my place in the haunted house. I gotta say my thing and then drive off, you know.
Yeah, he's that's his character, right? That's his bit. That's so good,
and doubly so because there's an establishing master shot on the sidewalk that shows everybody kind of lined up, and it is that kind of haunted house energy where it's like they're all gonna have their little moment, and then you're gonna move on. Really
it's great, and he encourages him to get out. Mm-hmm. You know, just by saying that, he's like, this is my part. This is my line. Goodbye, kid.
Yeah. Move on.
Amazing.
I think I would argue for this, and I don't mean this in any sort of perverted way, but I would say that the scenes between Kevin and Pigeon Lady are kind of a romance, a friendship romance thing of like, she opens her heart to him. She goes, you'll never, he's like, I'll never forget you. And she's like, don't make promises you can't keep. And then he ends the movie giving her the other, the pigeon thing, being like, I'll always remember you. And she's like so touched. It's such a, you know, it's a romance.
I know what you mean. It's almost like she's playing hard to get. Like, don't make promises you can't keep, boy.
Again, another amazing movie if he got laid by the end of this.
Oh my god!
Yes. I definitely thought about it. There were moments in there where, like, I was watching with my friend, and I was like, I feel like they're gonna make out. Like, when he was
Oh
like,
my god!
I think you should give love another chance because there are people out there who.
Yeah.
Might
Well,
know
I
what
read
it
like
says.
I read when I was reading about the movie, like some of the trivia behind these movies. It's like it's so funny that like I wonder if because they were talking about making another one with Macaulay grown up, and like it's still Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. Like they're just like still after him. Like we got to get this kid,
Yeah.
which I thought was hilarious. But it makes me wonder, like, what if he grew up and like came back to Pigeon Lady and was like, "Do you still have your turtle dove?" Like I do. Let's go for it, baby.
She's like, I only have 1 year to live. We'll make it the best year we can.
I know. I only have one. Yeah, I only have 1 year to live. Well, then let's live.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So yeah, as we wrap up here, so the verdict. This is time for the verdict. What do we think? Is this still good? Is it not quite as good as we remember? What are we feeling here? Biniam, you go.
I think it largely holds up. It's the violence is still shocking and looks really painful, which makes it funnier, which I think is just you don't even see that in movies now. Like that kind of like they captured the Three Stooges like painful like I mean it is the best part of the movie and it largely tracks all the story beats. I thought one moment that I didn't remember from when I was a kid because I really did not put the story together as a kid.
It's unimaginable to me. It's so amazing. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah. Like, I did not put this together that it was like they are trying to rob the toy store, and we learned about how this money is going to go to the kids in the hospital, and Kevin is motivated by wanting the money to not be stolen from the toy place. I just thought they were after him the whole time. That's all I knew. So when they had that moment in the movie where Kevin goes to the children's hospital and just looks up at that kid in the window, which is like a kind of funny, weird moment.
Oh my god, you're right. That was a kid in the fucking hospital. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I just thought you like saw a kid. I just thought it was a kid that he was like, oh, this kid has a place and I don't.
No, it's a long establishing shot that it's the hospital.
Oh my god,
then you hear the voiceover, the flashback audio of the old guy going, all the money's going to go to these kids. And then you hear like Marv or whatever going like, we're going to rob that money from the toy store. And that's when I understood his motivation. I was like, this is great.
You can mess with a lot of things, but you can't mess with kids on Christmas.
Yeah, that's what he fucking says. And it's like when that happened, I just figured like, oh, that's now it's the part of the movie where now it's the third act where he goes and fucking saves them and everything. But wow, I never put that together. Even as a 32-year-old man. I blew it, guys.
Which makes this, I think, you could argue, a more complex movie than the first one. The first one, he's just trying to survive. In this movie, he's doing something for other people.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a very good point. Very good point. Bear, what about you?
I like this movie a lot. I think a little bit of the shine is off of it. There were some moments where I was like, this isn't as good as I remembered. I own this on VHS. I watched the fucking shit out of this movie.
Right.
I think it's an excellent horror movie sequel. Like you said, Biniam, the violence is wonderful. If you watch this on TBS, they cut out a lot of what happened.
So much.
They cut out a lot of the brick stuff, like almost all of it, because Daniel Stern is getting seriously hit in the face by bricks. They are not cutting away. And I know it's like foam, but they're doing the sound and it is hardcore.
Oh, it's brutal.
They cut out when he gets hit in the nose with a staple gun, which is excellent. There's a lot of shit that doesn't fly. I really like this movie. I think a lot of the best lines in the whole series are here. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals in this one. It's not in the first one. Another Christmas in the Trenches is incredibly funny before he throws the brick. That's ridiculous. And there's some Sam Raimi type shit with that zoom out when Pesci gets lifted into the air. There's a POV shot from Marv when he's sliding into the shelves of paint.
Yeah,
There's
the
a lot of
goo.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun camera work and stuff that definitely has like an 80s horror movie vibe. And I love that shit about it. Macaulay Culkin's amazing. Catherine O'Hara brings it again. Pesci and Stern are absolutely excellent. At 2 hours, parts of it feel a little long. Some of the more ridiculous stuff, the more you kind of inspect it, the more it's not as natural of a plot progression as Home Alone. He's got to go to this other house and then draw the guys there. After he has this big New York adventure by himself, which honestly you would probably cut and lose 30 minutes of that movie by taking the New York shit out, just get to the good stuff. I would think in a different world. But it's good. I like it. It's very hard not to like this for me. I used to love it as a kid. Some of the shit used to crack me up. Now different stuff makes me laugh. But I probably like the first one a lot more now. Whereas when I was a kid, I think I liked this one more. I think I liked the traps better and some of the stuff that happened a little more. But it's still good. I mean, if you haven't watched it in a while, it is a very worthy sequel. It is very, very dumb. But the first one is also extremely dumb. So I don't agree with criticisms levied against this movie that are calling out how kind of outlandish and dumb the plot here is. It's like, did you see the first one? Because this is just kind of, building on that. You have to have more violence. You have to have better lines. You have to have a more heightened situation and stakes that make sense. And it does all that stuff. The worst thing you could do with a sequel like this is, completely phone it in and have everyone clearly cashing in and just resting on their laurels, or have it be like overly elaborate with a lot of plot holes and make it just seem, just ridiculous. You call attention to the fact that this is just another movie being made just to make people money. And I don't think it does that. I think there's a lot of stuff in here that really works, including the pigeon lady, which is probably the one aspect of it that does go that direction a little bit. But you got to have some kind of moral for him to kind of understand, and you got to have a stand-in for Old Man Marley. So it's good. I don't have a problem with this. My girlfriend doesn't like it at all. She thinks it's ridiculous. She is wrong.
I feel like I like the first one a lot more. I just think there's a charm to it that just you can't replicate. However, there's classic lines here, like, the butler, 2 scoops, sir? 2, make it 3. I'm not driving. Like, that's incredible. And also, it's like, how the hell did he get a butler to serve him ice cream? Like, is that just a perk of the suite that he's in? Like, that's
I want that now.
That's amazing.
To pay a man to serve me ice cream in bed at a hotel.
My biggest issue with this one is the length and how it just goes on a little too long. Like, I really wish it wasn't 2 hours. Like, to be honest with you, I would be more excited about watching it every year if it was shorter, because I know I'm going to watch it every year. I'm going to watch the first one and the second one around Christmas time. And when I see that this one's 2 hours, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, if it was an hour 30, hour 45, I would be so much more excited. But towards the second half, and especially towards the end, I really start to get a little antsy. And that doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying myself completely, but it does mean that I'm like, come on, guys, let's wrap it up. The stunt stuff is funny, but again, and I think it's really funny to talk about. But like in the first movie, the stuff that happens to them, they did such a great job of it being like right on the border. Everything that happens to them in this, it's like this would fucking kill them. Like almost everything. Like they would die. The fact that they're alive is a miracle, but it's still funny. And Biniam, go ahead.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because the first one is so much less clear to me. Like it's more grounded, you're saying.
Well, yeah, I think Stern gets killed in the first one when the iron hits him. I think Pesci lives in the first one. Here, I think
I don't think the iron would kill him. I think it would give him a really
the iron would
black
kill you
eye.
From a story up. That would kill you. That would fucking kill you.
Was it from
That
the
would be the
story
end
up? It
of
was
her
down the
season.
laundry chute, though.
From the first floor to the second. That is like
I guess you're right. Yeah,
15
and it was
foot drop.
on too. So yeah,
That would murder you. Here, I think if Pesci lives through getting launched in the air, Stern gets killed by the brick. He gets killed like 4 times. Like
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Goes to hell, comes back, goes to hell, gets shot into space, goes beyond this realm, has a Mandela effect, and comes back to zero. Like he gets killed.
He gets rocked.
I think Pesci lives until, I would say, the bag of tools above his head. I think that kills you.
Oh, the bag of tools.
I think that last wrench kills you, and everything beyond that is death.
Yeah.
You know.
Andrew, this gives me an idea for a dumb Instagram sketch we should shoot. We just use the part of Kevin on top of the building, through like being like, "I'm gonna throw one, okay," and then the other part is just us or something else, and the first brick kills.
Yeah, someone dies. I was just gonna say
the guy dead on the ground. It's like, oh my god, I think he's dead. Are you okay? It's just like
yeah. It's like, you fucking killed him, man. Like, wait a minute. Like,
he's just like, aha, I'm gonna throw another one.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like, no, you already won, Kevin. Yeah.
Like a crowd shows up to resuscitate him, and you're just begging for the kid to stop throwing bricks.
Yeah, that's
like
amazing.
You don't understand the repercussions.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then like you know, in the shot, like we see the brick like land. We see the other bricks like land on the street. You know, and it's like, stop throwing them. Like, you won already. Yeah.
Kills another person.
That's amazing. Yeah, you just killed. Yeah, you killed the neighbor's kid. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really fucking funny. I love that. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's difficult for me to say this movie is like awful because it's like there's so much fucking charm to it, and like around this time of year, it's so much fun to watch. But I do think it pales in comparison to the first one. That being said, I'll still say I will say it's still good because of the fact that there's enough in there to make me like be down to watch it every year. Because if I watched it once and was like, I'm never fucking watching that shit again, but after I watched the first one, I'm always down to put on the second one. And that means it's still good, even though I get tired during the second half. And I do think the first half of this movie is a lot more. I know that the stunt stuff is funny, but I love the first half of like the pranks in the hotel, the cheese pizza, the fucking Rob Schneider, Gum and everything. And the pigeon lady, I do actually think she's a nice character, but that scene of them up at wherever the hell they are, how the hell did they get up there in the first place?
Yeah, that's allegedly where she lives.
Yeah, right. It's like, I just felt like that's like, okay, that was the only scene that I was just like, you could cut that and I still feel like you'd get that relationship personally. But that's where I'm at. It sounds like we all think it's still good, which is definitely a solid review. Biniam, you were fucking awesome, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. One last thing I wanted to ask.
Please.
Is the talk back, yak back in the first movie too?
What the fuck did you just say?
The yak back.
The talk back, yak
The talk back. That's what it's called. The talk back.
Delete this entire episode.
Was that a huge piece of just product placement? They were like, look, we're trying to sell these things.
Well, the talk back is something that has never existed and will never exist.
Okay, I know what Bear's going to say.
But the Talk Boy was a huge product tie-in for the second film. It was the first time that I ever received a note from Santa Claus instead of an actual gift because he couldn't quite make enough for this young man in Northeast Ohio. And not only did I get one eventually, if I wasn't at my girlfriend's family's house, I have the cassette tape that is branded from Home Alone 2 that is still functioning in my office. And I totally forgot. But no, the Talk Boy is not in the first film, though it is established in the first movie that his superpower is being able to rewind play with surgical precision, which pays off quite nicely in the second one.
I mean, I think those two jokes in the second movie are, to me, I think they were the things that made me laugh the most. Shower one and the gun thing are both.
Yeah. And booking the hotel room, I thought that it was possible to do that.
The
Like,
shower
Nick
was
just-
incredible. Yeah, the shower.
Oh,
Get
the
out of here,
shower
you
is-
nosy little
is
pervert.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shower's amazing. I'm not cutting that at all. I think talk back is hilarious.
The
That's what
talk back,
The
yak back.
talk, the yak back is incredible.
I regret doing
I mean,
this episode.
it makes
Oh,
much
shut
more
up.
Talk boy.
sense.
Talk
It's
boy
called
is
a talk
funny.
back, it actually makes sense.
I think it's called Talk Boy, which is, and it totally was product placement. I mean, that's right there in the first 5 minutes of like him doing it twice for no reason and just shoving it right to the camera.
Yes, the talk
And I-
boy.
and I
Man,
remember-
that thing fucking ruled.
I remember those fucking commercials. I remember, oh my God, that was the biggest product placement ever. And they sold a fuck ton of those. I mean,
Well, it's a
Bear didn't
huge
even
product.
get one.
It's an unbelievable product placement film. They switched their allegiance from Pepsi to Coke from the first movie to this
They
one.
did.
Although they
yeah.
do still fly United. And
No, they fly
Donald-
American.
Oh, I'm sorry, I fly United. They fly American. And
Yeah.
like the real piece of shit he is, Donald Trump shows up to pimp his own property. The Plaza
Oh, yeah. I
Hotel.
can't believe we didn't even talk about that. It's probably a
I
good
don't
thing we
care.
didn't.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
I
fuck
mean,
that
he
guy.
does feel weird, like Kevin asks for directions or whatever, and then as Kevin's walking away, he like turns around and like checks him out.
Yeah, he like
Yeah.
mugs for the camera.
Dude, he's a
Yeah.
creep. He bullied his way into the movie. Chris Columbus was like, yeah, we got the permit and we paid the fee, but he was still like, I gotta be in it. I want to be in it. And he got his way in. And apparently, which is just goes to show you how fucking different a time it was, is at their first test screening for the movie, audiences like laughed and cheered when they saw him. So he was like, all right, I guess we're keeping him in.
That look back is fucking gross. I
It's
hated
disgusting.
that more than
Yeah.
anything. I hated that.
He's
You know
such
what
a
they-
zero.
He was just like, "Can I look back?" Or he just did it probably. He just-
I wonder if he was
there's
like,
no way he asked. Yeah, there's no way.
no, there's no way he fucking asked. I bet you he was like, I'm looking back and maybe I'm thinking he's gonna run my business someday. Maybe this kid's gonna. I guarantee you that's what he was probably fucking thinking. That loser. And good riddance. He's done officially today. The Electoral College met. So good riddance. You dipshit.
Go back
Biniam,
to the
thank you.
movies.
What'd you say? Sorry.
And now he's going back to the movies.
Oh God, I hope not. Yeah, Home Alone 6.
Home Alone 6.
Trump with him starring. He'll finance it. Biniam, thanks again, man. We'd love to have you back to do the what's it? The bad son,
The good son, the bad son.
I don't.
I'm sick of being the
know.
fact checker for this fucking show. Jesus.
I'll
It's
change
actually
it.
it's called the Yak Son.
Well played.
It takes place in the mountains. It's about a bunch of shepherds. They run into some unexpected animals.
Hell yeah. But yeah, man, thank you again, man. Thanks for doing this. Before we go, do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything that you're doing? Anything you're working on?
Nah, not really. This is just fun. This is good.
I love that.
you know,
Just chilling.
I say, I would highly recommend taking either the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine. Get on that. Use my discount code at the checkout. Get
What's the wait? They didn't hear. What's the discount code?
Biniam, Biniam. Put it in when you go to the doctor.
I hope people listen to this and then go to the doctor and say, as they're getting the thing and they're like paying their copay or whatever, like, oh, and I have Biniam.
Yeah.
And they're like, what was that? They're like, yeah, no, Biniam, yeah.
Yeah, we all know.
Yeah, we all know.
Yes.
But thanks,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, we'll do the good son at some point. But either way, thanks for listening, everybody. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. Is it still good? ? You can find us on Instagram, @StillGoodShow. You can find us on our website, stillgoodshow.com. Send us an email, stillgoodshow@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay safe. As Biniam said, get that vaccine. And everybody be well, and we'll talk to you soon.